Welcome back, guys, for the start of a really cool project. This is going to be a multi-day, definitely a multi-video project, and it's going to take me a long time because this is a lot of work. What am I talking about? I'm getting new seats in the home theater, the living room theater, I should say. And if you're seeing this video, it means I'm going ahead with the project. I like them, and we're going to be doing even more than what's in this video to come very soon. But why do I say that? Because I don't even have them yet. They're still in transit. They're going to be here in a few days, at least the first shipment. I'll have a second shipment coming after that, and I'm not entirely sure exactly what I'm going to do because it's going to depend on when these get in here, how I can physically place things and really feel them out to see exactly what I'm going to do as far as that goes. But this will be the fifth set in this house alone. This time is different than all the rest. And that's because we're not doing it out of necessity. We're not doing it because what we have we don't like. We love these seats. I can't count, seriously, the number of hours and days and weeks of time that our butts have sat in these seats, especially this last year. This one next to me, my wife lives in this seat. She watches all her YouTube. She does her tutoring for school. She's a high school teacher. I mean, seriously, hours and hours and hours every single day in that seat. I'm the same way in this particular seat for watching all my movies, for watching TV shows, all that kind of good stuff, especially for listening to 2-channel music. But this time, it's because we need something different in the physical room. When we bought the house, it was just the two of us. We're not kids people. And when we would have people over for dinner and a movie, it was just another couple. So it was 4 people max sitting in here. We got 4 seats. Perfect. Worked out great. Well, now I've got family living in the area. And we routinely have 5 people over for dinner and a movie. Which means somebody is relegated to sitting in one of the bar stools. Which is no fun for anybody. So I want 5 seats. Now that comes with its own set of challenges. I would have just gotten more of these, but they don't make them anymore. Bought these from a furniture company, not a dedicated theater seat company, which is a definite advantage when you're buying this kind of thing, is future support. The other 2 here flanking are power theater recliners that IKEA used to sell. Again, don't make them anymore. So we're kind of out of options. Plus, the physical size of these, because it's a row of 2, it's not really a love seat because it is truly 2 distinct seats put together, but it's a little wider than just 2 single seats. And the IKEA seats are extra wide. They're actually like a beefy, big and tall size chair. I can't put 5 of any of this in this room. I'm limited by a wall and base traps on that corner, and that's a hallway down to the other side. So this is pretty much the max space I have to work with. However, going with a company like Valencia, I can configure whatever kind of seats I need for whatever kind of space I need. And one of the cool thing is you can configure the different rows with or without armrests. You can have them standalone. You can have them, whatever you want to do, you can do. And I have a couple configurations that will physically fit in here with 5 seats. So that's what I'm doing. Now, I say it's a huge job because I've got 4 transducers custom installed into these center 2 seats. They're going to have to come out, and they're going to have to be custom mounted on at least 2 of the seats going in. Maybe 3, depends on what I do there. I'm really the only one that really cares about it. Wife couldn't care less. Guests kind of appreciate it, but you know, I spend 100 times more time alone watching movies than having guests over, so that's not really that important. Might just do what I have here, 2 really good setups for them, and just call it a day. So that's going to take some time, custom fabricate that stuff again. But the big thing is speaker placement. So here's what I'm dealing with. This is, if it were turned 90 degrees, it would be the perfect room. Unfortunately, it's not. It is a very open concept. We've got kitchen there with a big pass-through. I do have everything treated. It sounds really good in here. Got a nice rug. I've got absorption diffusion panels on the front wall. Behind me is all absorption panels. I've got big bass traps, 10 feet of them going up in the back corner here. I've got absorption panels all down the hallways, so none of the sound from the kitchen or the air conditioning handler or anything bounces back into the room. It works very well. TV, yes, it's high up. Yes, it's above the fireplace. It's an 85-inch. But when we're watching movies, we are reclined. And let me tell you what, when you're in a reclined position, it puts you right in line with that screen. And it looks more like this. So I have no complaints about it being up there. My neck is directly in line with the TV and it's perfectly supported. It's just like being at the movie theater. When you're watching the movie theater, your head is not looking down. It is looking up, and this is the same angle. It's not that bad. And as you can probably tell, I sit off center. Here is sitting in the middle, and this is what I want to go for. This is the other huge advantage with going with 5 seats. I'll be able to actually have a center seat, and I'll actually be able to watch things much more normally. That'll be really cool. And there you can see how wide it actually is on the wall. But also notice the speakers. This is a 2-channel first system, and this is unlike the vast majority of home theater people I see, where they're home theater first, music second, or sometimes not even music at all. This is set up via master set. These speakers are physically placed in the perfect position for this room, for this one particular seat. The left speaker happens to be the anchor. That's the one that was set first. And luckily, just moving over a foot or so, I'm not going to have to adjust that anchor. But this second speaker, I'm going to have to go through probably half a day worth of adjustment. And that's physical adjustment by the millimeter, getting it positioned absolutely perfectly to lock in phase with that other speaker at the listening position. And what that gives you is an absolutely perfect soundstage without any digital manipulation. I can put the amp in pure direct. I can sit in this seat. Those speakers 100% disappear. I have sound coming from way wider than the speakers. I have a locked in center position. I kid you not, I do demos for people and they have to physically get up and put their ear to the center speaker because they don't believe the surround sound is not on and it's just the main 2 speakers. It even wraps around your head depending on the song you're playing. It is really a fantastic way of setting up your speakers. I've got a video on that I did on Guy Stuff a year or 2 ago, and believe me, it is worth the time. But that has to be redone because the seating position, just changing this much, completely changes where those speakers are going to ultimately line up. All right, so that's the backstory, and this is the room looking from this other end. You can see I've got plenty of width. It is perfect for soundstage. I have virtually no first reflection points, and when I do want to totally dial it in, I shut the sound curtain. It also blacks the room out, and that works fantastically. You can shut the bedroom door for a little bit better, more even bass response. But I am limited in distance here because of the fireplace mainly. If I could knock this out and gain that 2 feet back, I could go projection up to 130. But as it stands, the biggest projector I could put in here would only give me a 100-inch image, and that isn't worth giving up the better quality from a great TV over a projector. So, seats are what we're up for now. These are going to come out. I'm going to start in the middle, and we're going to work our way out from there. It has been a full week. My seats have been delayed in Tampa by the last mile delivery crew. they're finally coming tonight, so I am prepping. First step here is cleaning up. What a mess. Obviously, we don't vacuum under the seats unless we move them. But more importantly, I get to remove all the transducers and get everything out of the way. Luckily, I made them pretty easy to do so. It's just 2 screws and 1 bolt, and the whole assemblies come out one by one. And the actual transducers are mounted to the boards there, and they are securely mounted both to the steel frame and the wooden frame. So that's why it just transfers right through. You don't even know that there's something in the couch. It really does feel totally natural. We're going to zip those out, get those out of the way, and then put this somewhere, not sure, just somewhere out of the way, because we got a whole bunch of boxes, and I guess I'm gonna just kind of stack them down the hallway and assemble them one by one, and then we'll just have some fun. And so it begins. Look what just got dropped off. Now you notice the boxes are different. That's because this is going to replicate what I just pulled out of my center. This is going to be a row of 2. So we're going to have armrest, seat, armrest, seat, armrest. You can add on to it from there. And I'm going to see how I like this and then decide what I'm going to do for the rest of the configuration. Now they also give you this cool handy dandy barcode up top. So you just scan that, and they have some really good canned install and assembly videos. So I'm going to give you the short version since they have that, and I'll link it down below. It's super easy. They're pretty much all the same. You snap on the backs and you plug in the wires, and well, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and get these unboxed. So the first thing I'm doing here is just inspecting everything for damage. Everything looks pretty good. There's a little bit of a tweak just to this corner, but I think it's because there's no armrest to stabilize it, and it's just the wood part. I think once everything's assembled, it'll line up, so that's not a worry. And then I'm looking to see where my transducers can go in, and they're gonna pretty much go in the same spot as the old seats. I'll have to relocate the power box here, which is no big deal. It's just on some zip ties. And the other thing I needed to see is how many feet and where are they I would need, because I need to order additional, keeping the old ones on the old couch, and each one of these units uses 7 or 8 of them, so I ordered a pack of 50, and they're just squishier, and they isolate the floor from the seat, so all the transducer energy goes into you instead of your floor. Here's what they look like installed, but they're very squishy. They do a great job of actually isolating it. And if you're not using transducers, you can of course just use the stock hard plastic feet that come on the unit, and they give you this bag with these adhesive foam caps, and you can stick those on in case you're on hardwood or any kind of delicate surface other than carpet, and that way you won't damage anything that way. Well, the puppies approve. They've fully inspected them. So first off, I absolutely love that these are modular. Oh my God. Manhandling a double put together love seat or couch, that gets old real fast when you're dealing with 350 to 400 pounds, especially doing it alone. These are great. Each one of these may be 75 pounds. That one's a little bit more because it's got the 2 armrests on it. So the way this works is, like I said, you can order any kind of combination of stuff you want. Just a seat, 1 armrest, 2 armrests, left, right, angles, sectional, whatever you want to do. And then you just put it together. Now the actual assembly, it's very easy. What you have here on one side are these receptacles, and it's kind of like a ratchet. And then on the other side, you have triangular pegs. So what you do is you bring the peg side down on this and set your distance between the two by which ratchet you put it in. So I got them latched together. Not the easiest thing in the world. What I did is I kind of straddled it this way and then picked it up, eyeballed down the gap to see where the feet were. It was easy getting one in, a little tougher getting both, but once you lock it in, they're nice and secure, and all you have to do is lift the one side to detach them, so that's really easy. Installing the backs is straightforward, just like any other theater seat out there. You've got your guide rails, and they just slide down onto the guide post, snap into place. Then you've got a power connector each for the lumbar and the headrest. And that's it. And there we go, installed. Definitely more room, and now you can see why I'm gonna be able to fit 5 in here, where I could only fit 4 before. These things are just mammoth. They're comfy, but mammoth. Look at the width difference. I mean, it's almost a foot. And the old one, even though it was 2 seats, it was really a 2.5 because you had a big double armrest in the center. It was pretty much like 2 full seats just sitting next to each other, which we didn't need. So this is a wall hugger design, same as some others I've had. And this is how far to the back wall you can go. It's just the width of my hand. And you can see fully reclined, there's still about 1 inch clearance. So really nice and tight, as pretty much every modern one is these days. Love the look of them. They are super plush. The sides here are quilted. I don't think they're leather. They feel different than the seat, but who cares? I mean, they look great, they look identical, and no one touches them. Not a big deal there. The actual cushions have a ton of spring and a ton of foam. You really kind of fall into them. Now they do have lumbar, which I've had before, and this is a case where I have no idea who would need more lumbar than this thing has in the lowest setting. I mean, it already feels like you're laying on a pillow, but as soon as you start to engage the thing, I mean, it's like a mountain growing out of the seat. So I'm gonna be using it completely down, and it's super comfy as is. So yeah, I would love to hear from anybody that has these if you use the lumbar at all. The headrests just rotate, and luckily they are tall enough for me. I'm 6'2". I'll show you guys when I'm in it here in a second. Let me find the button. They just rotate forward rather than also going up like the ones I have now. And that was important for my previous set because it was short until it started to go up, so you needed that. But this is just the right size for me. And again, nice and super plush. I mean, I'm barely pushing this in. It's like a big fluffy pillow. Now before, I'd been using these. These are just add-on home theater pillows. And I needed them because the seats themselves, both sets here and the old couch, wasn't super soft and squishy. But I'm happy to report that I will no longer need those with these seats because this just sinks your head in. And the leather itself is nice and plush. Sometimes you'll get, the right amount of stuffing, but the leather material is so stiff that it just kind of bends like that, and it's not comfy at all. But this is nice and plush, just like a car seat. So no problem there whatsoever. They do recline quite a bit. I mean, I'm sure you can see it there, but that is a sleeping position, truly is. And that's several degrees more than even this last set I had. Now, it's so much, I mean, this would be great to sleep in. It's a little too much for me to watch movies. So I'll actually be using it up a little bit, more like the old one I had, or still have. Now, I do have to zonk them for one thing. In this day and age, especially at this price point and this quality level, where are the memory settings? That's sorely needed. I've had that before on less expensive sets, and I've sat in and tested dozens, most of which at this price point had memory. So hopefully in the next version, it would be really cool if they would send new controllers and update these. It's a really simple thing, just to pop these boards out. Everything is controlled right on the back side of the switches. So we also have some light features. Let me show you those. I was a little concerned reading that the LED lights on the switches are always on. There's no way to turn those off. If the unit is plugged into the wall, those lights are on. But I'm happy to report that when you're sitting in it, your leg is next to it and you can't see it at all. So it's not distracting whatsoever during a movie. And the controls are on the inside of this, and that's because it's a modular design. I do like controls on the outside better just because that's where my fingers naturally fall, but again, you can't do that with a modular design. I've also seen them where if they don't have an armrest in between, they've put the controls actually on the side of the cushion, so you have to stick your hand down. I don't really care for those. I think this is the best solution for a modular seat, so they did a good job there. And they're very easy to use. They're very intuitive. You do have one special button right here on the very back of the buttons it turns on lights. Now this particular seat here had the 2 armrests, so it lights up both of them. And it also lights up blue lights underneath. And I'm sure if you've been researching these, you've seen a lot of people say that, hey, guess what? They spray your front wall with blue light. And yeah, it does. So I can comfortably say during a movie, those would be off. I would like to see, again, just a suggestion for maybe the next version or an update to the controllers, separate the two. I can definitely see using the cup holder lights during a movie, keeping them on even, but definitely not these. I mean, these look cool until the movie starts. I would love to just turn these off and leave those on. That would be really cool, and it would be simple to do. So that's just a quick minor hardware and easy software change. That would be something cool. But you can see that when it's not reclined and you turn the lights on, now this unit only had the 1 armrest, so that only controls 1 light there. It's a nice glow and it doesn't actually project forward, so that looks really cool just sitting there. And that's why, again, I would love to see them separated, because I would love to show off these lights, but keep the cup holders on when the movie's running and not throw anything on the front wall. Overall though, love it. All right, so fast forward a bit here for a couple reasons. One, waiting on a special shipment that is due in just a couple hours, and that will be shown at the end of this video. 2, I wanted to get some real seat time, some meaningful seat time in here so I can give you guys a proper, thoughtful review, not just an unboxing and, hey, they look great, buy them today. No, I'm gonna give you my full thoughts, and I have a lot of hours in this. Overall, very happy. That's the short version, but I'm gonna give you the top 5 things that you need to know, not just about these, but buying any seats in general, but it does specifically apply to these, so let's go through them. So first off, the most important thing, are they comfortable? The puppies seem to think they are. Yes, you're very cute and Daddy's trying to work. So comfort is a very subjective term, both to each individual person and their experience. I have a lot of experience with different seats. Theater seats, couches, recliners, love seats, all different kinds of things that we've had in our homes over the last 10 years or so, at least a dozen of them. And sometimes they were picked for aesthetics, sometimes for functionality. Sometimes it was just an awesome deal. It wasn't exactly what we wanted, but we couldn't pass it up. Lots of reasons people buy various seats. I'm at the point where, you know what, I'm just not compromising. I am buying exactly what I want. I'm looking for seats to be long-term. The next seats I want to bring in because, you know what, we're moving to a different house and these are staying here, or there's just some awesome new feature down the pipe that comes out, or these are just so old that we wore them out and we just need something to replace them, but we're not looking for anything better. That's my end game goal for seats at this point in my journey. So you're probably gonna be somewhere between me and just starting out. This is where I'm at. So I just want to give you a background. Comfort-wise, these tick the boxes for me. They are comfortable to sit in. First of all, I'm 6'2", and I'll get into that in a little bit. They support me. I'm currently 245 pounds. Plenty of spring, plenty of give. And we've got wrestling going on down here. Not a dull moment. Plenty of support for the head, both in seated and reclined positions. This isn't a headrest like most, where it actually contacts the back of your head. It's more the base of your neck, which is actually better for sound because now your ears have some give to the back wall and you're not getting a complete reflective surface off the headrest, which definitely messes with the image, especially trying to get something from the rear. So I actually prefer this. And this gives perfect support to keep your head completely aligned. It's totally relaxed. I don't need to actually plop it back and rest on something. So that's no big deal at all. Now let's talk about buying online versus buying at a local store. I've done both multiple times. I used to be of the frame of mind that you should always buy locally, and that's simply because I've been burned ordering over the internet. Sometimes because of lack of customer service or bad quality, but sometimes just because you can't really know how a seat is going to fit you and feel until you sit in it. You can look at specs online, you can look at dimensions, you can look at feature charts and all that good stuff. And you can have two seats that for all intents and purposes look identical online, and you get them in person and they couldn't be farther apart in difference. So what do? Well, you plant your butt in seats to know. And that's what we did a year or two ago now, where we went around to all the local stores, the furniture stores and home theater stores, and we planted our butts in seats and very quickly started to dial in on exactly what we wanted and most importantly, what we didn't want. Because there were many things, like I said, that you couldn't know. For example, I remember one set we looked at, it felt great, but once you actually reclined it, the switches moved so far forward because it was just a weird recliner design that you had to actually lean forward from the reclined position to go back up. Absolute nightmare in engineering. Another looked great, and man, we really wanted to buy this one, but you sat in it and the foaming and the support was just all wrong. It felt like you were sitting on a 2x4 on your butt. I can't imagine why they designed it like that. But you could never tell until you sat in it. So that's kind of why I've always said when people ask, look, you got to put your butt in it to really know. This one, luckily, I mean, it's truly the same boat. I didn't know how it felt until I got it to test. Luckily, I cannot imagine anyone having a problem with this because this has such good foam and such good framing support that there is just no way anybody is going to have a hot spot. It has very even support, literally from head to toe. Nothing sticks out. I mean, it's kind of like the old saying, short-term small problems turn into deal-breaker long-term problems. If you sit in a seat and 5 minutes into it, you get a little pain, something doesn't feel right, well, after a couple hours watching a movie, it's a deal breaker. You're never going to want to sit in that seat again. I have dozens of hours already in this, and there isn't even a little pain. So I have no problem recommending these to anybody that's looking for a seat as far as comfort goes. Now let me show you the most important tool you're going to need when choosing your seats. This guy right here, simple tape measure. Every good seat, whether it's online or on a furniture store's website or whatever, it's going to give you full dimensions and all the critical measurements. Seat height, seat depth, total height of the back, all that kind of good stuff. Break out your tape measure, sit down in whatever you have now and measure them. Compare the measurements and physically compare how you sit and how you feel. If there's a 2-inch difference between something, that's going to make a huge difference in how something feels. For example, I'm 6'2". I have a fairly short 32-inch inseam. I'm mostly torso. So if you're 6'2", you're probably going to be a little bit more leggy than me. I barely flat foot in these seats because they're freaking tall, man. They're the tallest seats that I've ever had. They're about an inch taller than the last set. And this is about the limit for how tall I would want seats for long term if I was sitting upright. Luckily, it doesn't really matter for me because I usually watch movies in a reclined position. But again, that's personal preference. If you know that you're going to be using your seats mostly in this position, you need to make sure that's comfortable. So break out the tape measure, find that seat height. Now mind you, the seat height is going to be when you're not in it. This foam does compress somewhat, but that's true of most seats, and you kind of have to take that into consideration. But you can measure to your joints, and you can measure the seat depth, and you can measure yourself. Figure out exactly how things are going to lay out. Now, I like that I'm barely flat footing, because that's putting most of the pressure on the foam, on the actual seat, and not my feet. If I was to sit in this chair, for example, it's just Daddy. Thought it was the door. This over here has about a 2-inch lower seat height, and my knees end up off the actual seat because all of my weight is on the sole of my feet. And that doesn't get very comfortable if you're not reclined. So this one, although my wife loves it because she's shorter and she fits it like I fit this one, I don't particularly care for sitting in this one. Now, if you're an extra tall person or an extra wide person, Valencia also has in some of their lines an XL series. So for example, if you're 6'6", you want the XL version because it just supersizes every dimension of the seat. It just scales everything up. So that would fit a much taller person a lot better. I'm the smallest one in my family, believe it or not. My little brother and my little cousin, they have several inches on me, and they would love the XL version. I'm right at the limit where I'm comfortable to say, this is the perfect size. If you're 5'6" to 6'2", you're gonna absolutely love the regular. Above that, definitely go for the XL. So something else that, you know what, it's fairly important. I've had all extremes now, this one being on one end. This is a really quiet set. Now, this is mostly important if you have a lot of seats, maybe multiple rows, a lot of people in the room. You don't want to be constantly hearing the typical farty leather noise, right? Every time you move your seat. This thing is silent, I kid you not. I have not treated these at all. There's no leather treatment, there's no paraffin wax, nothing on these seats. And these are the first ones that I've heard that are silent. You hear a slight hum of the electric motor, and that is it. And it's not like the material is gapped or anything. It's leather to leather. It's just the quality of this leather is so freaking soft, it doesn't make that noise. It's thick. Don't get me wrong. This is not a thin veneer. This is not any kind of like vinyl material. It is just premium, really luxury car grade leather, and it is super quiet. I dig that. It's not going to be important to everybody. It may not be something that you would spend extra money to get, but you do get it with Valencia. So thumbs up to them for that. So speaking of the noise, let's do a full recline here and I'll show you the size. Now I'll put it how I prefer to watch my movies. Now everybody's going to be different and every seat is going to be different. In these, I actually like to slide down just a little bit. In my last set, I like to have my back completely against it, but because I have the lumbar, I can just kick it a little bit and it's like I'm floating on a pillow. Now this is about how I watch my movies, right about here. It's completely comfortable. My eyes are directly at the TV and I've got my TV on a tilt, so everything is keyframed right to you, but they go even back further. Now, my eyes are pretty much looking at my ceiling fan, and if I was to adjust my head more, now I'm looking at the TV, but my chin is like straight down. That's how reclined these go. Now, you know what? Sometimes, if you're just chilling out, or if I'm playing on my iPad, this is a great position because I can put my iPad right on my belly here, play my games or whatever, surf Facebook, and I'm completely relaxed. But for watching a movie, I like up just a little bit more right there. Now I can eat my bowl of popcorn, access to my drinks, and it's completely relaxed. Another thing I really like about this set, and this has been true of some others that I've had and others that I've sat in, is the alignment of the armrests while you're both reclined and sitting up. See, now as I'm sitting in the seat, I do like to be all the way back. And that's very comfortable, even with zero lumbar. When you put everything back to normal, it puts everything back to the zero state just with one button, so there's no additional lumbar, and it is completely comfortable and supportive right here. I would never want any more lumbar. The armrests in some seats, especially the wall huggers like this, when you recline them fully, you sink down in, so your arms kind of do this. And I've had a lot of shoulder pain with some other seats because you're pretty much trying to watch a movie with hunched shoulders. These stay low enough, for my height at least, where it's completely relaxed and I don't have to think about it. And I also like that the material of the armrests is just as soft as the seating material, and they go all the way back. So my elbows are fully supported and nice and cushioned. There's no pressure point at all on any part of my arms, the same as my body. Now this is a very important point also, before I went ahead with this project, as you can tell, it's a big project. It's not even done yet. I got a lot of feedback because I did not want to go through all this and risk not being happy. Well, I was still risking it, but I wanted to give myself better odds of not wanting to return them, not wanting to just say, you know what, I did that for nothing, buy another set later, whatever. So I got a lot of feedback from current owners, and I simply said, for everybody that has these or got these in the past, do you still use them? Or did you get rid of them for something else? Because that's what I do. If I got something and you know what, 6 months down the road, I'm not happy with it, if you've seen my past videos, you know, I get rid of it and I get something else to try. And not one, I'm not kidding, not one of the responders said, I moved on. Every single person that responded, now granted it was a small sample size, 20 people at the most, every single one of them are still using them. And to me that says enough that, you know what, I was confident that I was going to be in the same boat. And at least right now, absolutely, I'm very confident that these are probably going to be in here, like I said, till we sell the house or they wear out, because I just have no problem with them. Now, all that being said, do your research. This may not be the style for you. Luckily, Valencia has lots of different styles, and here's another really cool part. There's a little bit of a wait if you do this, but you can completely customize these and other lines. All different kinds of colors, two-tones, different color stitching, pretty much whatever you want to design, you can design. These are just their straight out of the crate black. And that's what the wife wanted. I had no problem with it, so yay, we can do that. They also have out of the crate chocolate brown. It was a little bit lighter than these, and the wife liked the black better, and we've had brown for a while, so she wanted to change. I don't really care. As long as she's happy, I just wanted the particular seat color. Not that important to me, but it may be to you, maybe to your wife. So you can go on, and there's an online configurator on their website where you can design virtually the seats of your dreams. There's a little bit of an upcharge for some of the customization, but it's there. And that is simply not there for the vast majority of seats out there, whether it's online or in person. So that is a very cool thing. So with all that being said, hi. I got some more videos planned. Yes, and I got puppy helpers. Ow, don't bite my nose. Ow. Cooper, Dad's trying to work. Ow, damn it. So with the puppies out of their total destruction and indoor accident phase, we have a nicer rug going in. That's going in, well, probably tonight. This one is going to my parents, and I finally lined up the last step in the chain, a buyer for these two single recliners. They're also being picked up tonight, which finally clears enough space where I can get the other 3 seats coming. Yay. So tonight these will clear out, then the rug will clear out, new rug will go in, last 3 seats come, modifications will start. I've got the transducers being installed. I've got lighting kits in. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do one linked system, which I probably will because I just have a single row. It's just the 2 of us. But if you're doing a multiple row, maybe with a bunch of kids, you may want to do individual controls. It's only about 40 bucks a seat extra to go full shebang, smart home, individual control, automation, all kinds of good stuff. And I'll go through that in that video, but I got a lot of stuff planned for that. And one special part. to wrap up this video. So, here's the kicker. These are not just theater seats. Oh no, my friends. These are the ultimate man cave seats. These are cigar lounge seats. These belong in everybody's dedicated smoking room. I know a lot of you have them. I happen to have my outdoor space, but a lot of people are blessed with an indoor space or a shed especially. Put a pair of these, put a pair of standalone recliners in. I know a lot of guys don't want to sit directly next to another guy. Totally fine. You just get two with two armrests. They're the same price. Put them wherever you want. These are fully finished in the back. They're not like cheap furniture. You can put these in the middle of the room. You can walk behind them and they look fantastic. 360 around. And why do I say they're for man cave? You guys are the first in the world to see this, and I'm the first in the world to have them. Solid aluminum, very chunky monkey ashtrays. They go right in the accessory slots here. And of course, they got lots of other stuff to go in here, tray tables and wine glass holders and phone holders and lights and blah, 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 blah. These are awesome. They're, of course, personal size. They're made for one person. They're not made for a group, but you put one in each seat. Obviously easy to dump and clean. Nice beefy lands. These things are an inch thick of solid aluminum. These things are heavy. It's a nice deep bowl. You're gonna capture all the ash from even the biggest cigars out there. Here's a 6x60, the big old lunatic torch. Perfect. Plenty of land width to hold your big chunky cigars. Plenty of bowl to hold all the ash. Easy to clean, looks great, and it's small enough to still put anything in your cup holders. So you've got full access to your beverages. A lot of the larger stuff like that from other brands, they cover it up. Nope, they thought of that. So there you go. I hope this has helped somebody kind of maybe push you over the edge. If you've been thinking about doing this kind of thing, which direction you want to go, opened your eyes to the possibilities from Valencia, especially with the customization. This is really a fantastic way to go for not just theaters, not just man caves, but any place you need really comfortable, heavy-duty seating. Definitely check them out. Now, there is a special link down below, and it will get you an instant $100 off your order of 2 seats or more. That's better than the pop-up offer on their website, and you don't even have to join their mailing list. All you have to do is click the link and it's automatically applied. No fuss, no muss. Simple as that. Now, like I said, I'm gonna have a lot more videos coming, some specifically on these seats. Check out CO Guy Stuff. The link is down in the description. Make sure you subscribe to that channel because all the future videos will be on Guy Stuff, since they're not directly applying to Cigar Obsession. But if you want to see modifications, you want to see the other 3 seats installed, all that kind of good stuff, and how the room turns out, placing the speakers back in proper positions and all that kind of good stuff, just subscribe to CO Guy Stuff and you'll see those over the coming few weeks. That's it. See you guys next time.